Hey guys, in today's video, I bring you an unbelievable and moving story that will leave you speechless. Let's meet Ember Thalassa, a woman who faced death head-on and came back with a clear vision about the fate of humanity. What she saw on the other side could be a powerful warning about the year 2025. Will it be the end or the rebirth of our species? Get ready for an intense and revealing spiritual journey. Before we start, leave your like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content like this, and activate the bell to receive all notifications. Now, let's dive into this incredible experience. Seattle, in the 80s, was a city with a pulsating rhythm, with its bohemian cafes and bustling art galleries. I, Ember Thalassa, was in the middle of it all, trying to balance the demands of life as a single mother and gallery manager. My son Jacob was my anchor. He was the reason I faced long workdays and life's challenges. But then, something strange started to happen. One day, while painting in the small makeshift studio in my living room, I felt an inexplicable cold run down my spine. I looked around and didn't see anything out of the ordinary. At first, I ignored it, but the discomfort persisted. The following weeks brought something even more disturbing. A white, pulsing cloud. I saw her out of the corner of my eye, but every time I tried to turn around, she disappeared. I thought it was the reflection of light coming in through the window, or maybe tiredness. After all, my nights were short and my worries were long. "You've been working too hard, Ember," my best friend Lydia said as we drank coffee. Lydia was the opposite of me, owner of an esoteric store. She was always talking about energies, crystals, and meditation. I used to laugh about it all, but his concern seemed genuine. Maybe it's stress, or perhaps a spiritual sign, she suggested. "Oh, please, Lydia," I replied with a half smile. "My life has enough challenges without me needing to add ghosts or spiritual signs." However, the demonstrations continued. The cloud seemed to get closer, as if it wanted to be noticed. Jacob, one night while doing his homework, casually commented, "Mommy, there's a strange light in the hallway." My stomach froze. "It must be the reflection of the lamp," I muttered, trying to hide my discomfort. Lydia insisted that I try something different, and her idea took me by surprise. "Come to a meditation session at the group I go to. It can help you relax or even understand what's going on." I laughed nervously. "Lydia, you know I don't believe in these things. And what do you have to lose? If it doesn't work, at least you'll have a night away from the chaos." Without arguments, I agreed. It was an attempt, albeit reluctantly, to find relief from that growing discomfort. The night of the meditation arrived, and I confess that I considered giving up several times while driving through the damp streets of Seattle. The rhythmic sound of rain on the windshield seemed to reflect my hesitation, but there was Lydia, waiting outside a small community center, her smile encouraging. "You came. I knew I could convince you," she said, pulling me by the arm. The environment was welcoming. The gentle scent of sandalwood filled the air, and cushions were scattered across the floor. The people in the circle seemed calm, with serene faces that contrasted with my restlessness. I sat next to Lydia, trying not to look out of place. The leader of the group, a calm-looking man named Gregor, asked everyone to close their eyes and begin breathing deeply. "Let the outside world disappear," he said in a low, soothing voice. I complied, albeit skeptically. My mind, however, was in a constant war. To-do lists, worries about Jacob, bills to pay. Then, something started to change. My breathing slowed, and a strange feeling came over me, a mixture of peace and tension, as if something bigger was about to happen. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my chest, so intense that I gasped and put my hands over my heart. Before I could understand, I felt my body give way. The last thing I heard were panicked screams around me. When I opened my eyes again, something was different. I was floating. Below me, I saw my inert body, surrounded by the people in the group. Lydia was on her knees, holding my hand and screaming my name. Gregor tried to remain calm, but his face was pale. "This can't be happening," I thought. But it was. There was a strange clarity in the way I saw everything, as if I were watching a play with every detail magnified. As I tried to understand, I felt an invisible tug. My surroundings began to dissolve, and I was enveloped by a vast, infinite darkness. There was no floor, no walls, no boundaries, just a deep void. My heart should have been racing, but the fear wasn't there. That's when I saw a stern figure emerge from the shadows. Tall and draped in a dark cloak, she announced in a firm voice. Your life has come to an end. My heart stopped, or at least it would have if I were still alive. The figure before me was frighteningly imposing, as if her every word carried the weight of countless eons. His presence filled the emptiness around me with overwhelming force. The time has come to face your destiny, he declared in a voice that seemed to echo within me, like thunder in a valley. My body, or what I thought was my body, was still. I wanted to protest, but I had no voice. My first instinct was to fight it, but the environment offered nothing to hold on to. No refuge, just this endless emptiness. Suddenly, a light appeared in the distance, golden and pulsing, growing rapidly until it filled everything around me. A radiant figure took shape amidst the glow. Unlike the stern presence, this one was warm and comforting, emanating a love that seemed to dissolve all my defenses. She is not ready, said the golden figure, addressing the stern presence. His voice was soft but carried an unquestionable authority. There is something she needs to see, something you still don't understand. The dark figure hesitated before disappearing, leaving me alone in that light. Who are you? I asked, finally managing to get the words out. I am known by many names, replied the golden being. But for you, you may call me Guardian. I was overcome by a mixture of curiosity and reverence. The Guardian reached out a hand and I felt an invisible force gently pull me. Come with me. There is something I need to show. I was transported to a place that defied all my perceptions. I was in a liquid environment, as if everything around me was made of water and flowing light. Vibrant colors danced like waves, changing shape with each moment. The Guardian followed me, moving effortlessly, its golden light reflecting off the waves of light. This is the space where everything is known and nothing is forgotten, he explained. Here, you will see the interconnection between all things. He reached out his hand again, and images began to emerge in the waves of light. I saw my own life in retrospect, moments that I had ignored as trivial. Every smile from Jacob, every stroke of art, every conversation with Lydia. Everything seemed charged with a depth I had never realized. You are part of something much bigger, said the Guardian. But now, you need to understand the critical state of your home, Earth, known to us as the Jewel. My mind was spinning, but something in his tone said the hardest part was yet to come. The Guardian extended his hand, and the environment around us began to change. The liquid light scene gave way to something that felt more tangible, an immersive, visceral vision. We were floating above planet Earth, but it wasn't as I knew it. At first, it looked beautiful, turquoise oceans, lush forests, and majestic mountains. But as I looked closer, I noticed something terribly wrong. The planet's light seemed dim, as if a shadow was slowly swallowing its essence. Watch carefully, said the Guardian. I was taken closer, and suddenly, everything changed. I saw darkened oceans, filled with trash and pollution, as sea creatures swam desperately in search of refuge. Forests were burned in huge bonfires, releasing clouds of smoke that covered the sky. Cities were plunged into darkness with deserted streets and ruined buildings. Is this the future? I asked, my voice shaking with fear. It is a possibility, replied the Guardian, with a serious tone. But it's not the only one. The scene changed again. This time I saw people. Some were covered in soot, walking mechanically among the rubble, their expressions desolate. Others were gathered in small groups, holding hands, trying to reconstruct what had been lost. There are choices to be made, the Guardian continued. 2025 will be the turning point, the moment when humanity will decide the fate of the Earth. Before I could process what he had said, another vision appeared. This time, it was a future of hope. I saw regenerated forests, shining oceans, and cities full of life. Children ran through the fields, while adults worked together, laughing and sharing. Humanity seemed in perfect harmony with the Earth. Is this possible? I asked, my voice full of disbelief and hope. Yes, replied the Guardian, but only if people understand the interconnection between themselves and their home. Earth is not just a planet. It is a living being, the Jewel, and she's asking for help. My heart ached as I realized the weight of responsibility he was placing in my hands. But how? How can I, an ordinary person, make a difference in something so big? You'll see, he said, with a warm glow in his eyes. But know this, every small action has an impact. Every awakened person can inspire others, and your mission is to use what is already inside you. The light began to intensify around me, and I felt the world vibrate with pure energy. The mission was just beginning, but I could already feel its magnitude. The golden light around us began to condense into shapes. I saw something that looked like a large observation room, like the inside of a translucent ship made of crystal and pulsating energy. The Guardian stood beside me, his presence radiating calm and purpose. "The time has come to understand your mission," he said, gesturing for me to look through an ethereal window. Outside, I saw the Earth again, but this time, it seemed to be pulsing with a living energy. The colors of the planet vibrated as if they were part of a gigantic organism. "What do you see?" asked the Guardian. "Yeah, life. The Earth is alive," I replied, my voice cracking with emotion. "Correct," he stated, a soft glow in his expression. "She is not just a planet. It is a living being, unique in its beauty and potential. Humans call it home, but many have forgotten their true connection to it." I saw a current of energy, like luminous veins, connecting all living beings, humans, animals, plants. "We're all connected," I murmured, as if discovering something I'd always known, but never been able to articulate. "Exactly," said the Guardian. "This interconnection is key to your mission. You must awaken others to this." I was paralyzed for a moment. "But how? I'm just an artist. I'm nobody important. What can I do?" He smiled slightly. "Within you is the most powerful tool, your art. Your creativity has the power to touch people in ways that words cannot. Every brushstroke, every work of yours, will be a catalyst for transformation." The images around me began to change again. I saw my paintings, but they were different. Each piece felt alive, emitting energy and emotion. People around the works reacted intensely, some crying, others smiling, but all changed in some way. "Your mission is clear," the Guardian continued. "You must use your talent to convey the message of love, unity, and responsibility. Inspire others to take action, to care for the jewel and for each other. 2025 is a crucial milestone. There is little time, but there is still hope." My mind was spinning. The responsibility felt overwhelming, but at the same time, something inside me began to awaken. "What if I fail?" I asked, with a lump in my throat. "Do not fear failure," replied the Guardian. "Every step you take in the right direction, no matter how small it may seem, will have an impact. Trust yourself and the message you carry. You won't be alone." I nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. The surrounding glow began to increase, and I felt that something was about to change. The glow around me became more intense, almost blinding, until everything disappeared in a single flash of white light. I felt like I was being pulled back, like an invisible force was dragging me toward something solid and dense. A strange sensation coursed through my body, the weight of my physique, the pounding of my heart, the harshness of the air filling my lungs. My eyes slowly opened, finding the familiar ceiling of the meditation room. The soft candlelight danced, and the voices around me seemed muffled, as if I were still caught between two worlds. "Ember," Lydia called, holding my hand tightly. His eyes were full of tears and relief. "You're back." "Oh my God, I thought I lost you." I tried to speak, but my throat was dry and all I managed was a hoarse whisper. "What happened?" "You fainted," replied Gregor, the leader of the group, kneeling beside me. It was more than that. His pulse was weak, almost non-existent. "We were about to call the ambulance when you started breathing again. I was alive, but I felt like I wasn't the same anymore." My head spun with the images the Guardian had shown, the words he had said still echoing in my mind. "I saw things," I murmured, struggling to find the right words. Lydia frowned, worried. "Things I can't explain." They helped me sit up, and as I came to, I noticed that everything around me seemed different. The colors of the candles were more vibrant, as if each flame had its own essence. The sounds were clearer, almost like music. But most of all, I could feel the emotions of the people around me. Concern, relief, curiosity. "Are you well? Do we need to take you to a hospital?" Lydia asked, her voice still shaky. I shook my head. "No, that's not it. It is complicated." As I looked at her, I felt a weight in my heart. How could I explain what had happened? How to convey what the Guardian had shown? I myself was still trying to understand. When we returned home that night, the world seemed to have changed, but maybe it was me who had changed. Jacob hugged me tightly when I walked in, and I felt such a deep warmth that I almost cried. It was as if he was seeing life with new eyes. Sitting in the living room, staring at a blank screen, I knew there was something that needed to be done. My mission had begun. The next morning, the first thing I did was sit down at the easel in my little studio. The white screen in front of me felt different. Not just empty space but a window into something bigger. My hands were shaking as I held the brush. Something inside me was changing, and I knew I needed to get it into shape. Jacob entered the studio, watching me silently for a few minutes before asking, "Mommy, what are you painting today?" I smiled at him, but it was hard to find words. "Something important," I replied. He nodded, as if he understood, and went out to play. I dipped the brush in the paint and started to paint, but the images that appeared on the canvas were not entirely mine. They seemed to be guided by something beyond me, as if my hands were just an instrument. The first painting was of a woman, standing in front of a devastated landscape, but with a small green sprout growing in her hands. Her tears seemed to mix with the earth, reviving it. As I finished, I felt a wave of emotion so strong it almost knocked me over. That afternoon, Lydia came to visit me. Upon seeing the painting, she fell silent, just staring at it. After a few minutes, tears began to stream down his face. "Ember, this is unlike anything you've ever done." "I know," I replied, voice low. "I feel like I'm not the one creating anymore. It's like I'm transmitting something." She touched the painting carefully as if she could feel the energy emanating from it. This can change people. I feel it." The following days were a whirlwind. My hands didn't stop. Each finished painting seemed to carry a different message. A city surrounded by trees rising from the ashes, oceans glowing with life, people holding hands in a chain that circled the earth. The images flowed out of me effortlessly, but left me exhausted, as if they were draining something deep. When I started exhibiting the works in the gallery, the reactions were instant and exciting. Visitors stood before them for minutes, many leaving with tears in their eyes or a renewed smile. Some people came back to tell me how the paintings had changed their perspectives. "It's like you're showing us something we already knew but had forgotten," said a man staring at one of the screens. I knew I was fulfilling the mission given by the Guardian, but the responsibility was heavy. Each painting felt like a step toward what he had shown me, but also a reminder of how little time we had to act. My art was no longer just an expression of myself. It had become a message to the world, a call for change and reconnection with what really mattered. The year 2025 began yesterday, and an inexplicable restlessness consumes me. The Guardian warned me about this year, the turning point for humanity, and now it is here. I don't know exactly what to expect, but every moment feels charged with palpable energy, like the silence before a storm. At Corazon de Joya, we are gathered for our first meditation of the year. The room is as full as ever, with people sitting in circles, some anxious, some at peace, but all carrying a silent hope. Lydia, as always, is by my side, a pillar of constant support. As we close our eyes, the environment seems to change. The sound of the rain outside disappears and everything becomes incredibly quiet. My hands rest on my legs, but I feel something different today, like there's a flow of energy around me, an invisible presence that intensifies with each breath. Suddenly, I see flashes of light behind closed eyelids. A warm feeling runs through my body, and images begin to appear in my mind. These are not just visions. It's like I'm living every scene. I see forests being reborn, trees growing from burned soil, their roots intertwined with others, forming a living, pulsating network. But I also see cities on the verge of collapse, deserted streets, and a sky covered in smoke and dust. I open my eyes abruptly, panting. I look around and realize I'm not the only one. Clara, sitting next to me, is crying softly. "Did you see that too?" she asks, eyes red and glowing. "Yes," I reply, my voice shaking. It's as if the earth is trying to show us something. We still have choices to make, but time is running out. After the session, people start to share their experiences. Many report feeling a connection to the earth, as if it were speaking directly to them. It's a mix of comfort and urgency that seems to reach everyone in the room. "Ember," Lydia says softly, pulling me aside. "People are waking up. That's what you saw, isn't it?" "It's the beginning." I nod, but something inside me is still restless. The Guardian said this year's choices would be crucial. And while there is hope, there is also a crushing weight. It's not just about what we are doing today, but about how we will respond to the challenges that lie ahead. The visions come back to me. I can't shake the image of a devastated future, but I also can't put aside the vision of harmony and rebirth. These are possibilities, but the responsibility of which future will prevail is in our hands now. I feel like we're on the threshold of something bigger, and what comes next will depend on every decision. No matter how small it may seem, I'm ready to keep fighting, but what will the rest of humanity do? That's the question that keeps me up tonight. If you liked this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a like, comment on your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch each new video and help us spread this message to a greater number of people. Until next time.